Well, how's it going, everybody? JT here on behalf of the Ethfinance Community. My computer just froze on my side as far as getting my weekly show notes out. So here we go. We'll do it live, right? That's what the OGs say. So I'm gonna have to reopen some windows here, but we will get going here. Weekly Doots live stream is all about showcasing the best of the best from the last week in our Ethfinance. And you know what? We've even got a little tidbit to share with everybody. We are joining the moderator team. Several of us are now working over on our Ethereum. So we're going to start bringing in the our Ethereum crowd. And actually, we're going to be going over there eventually. I'm assuming if things go well. We've been working with the moderators over there. Big shout out to the our Ethereum moderators for getting us into the mix. Evan Van Ness kindly let us in the room, and yeah, things are happening. So we are showcasing the best of the week, though, for this week from our Ethfinance. It's a read-along reaction series. And if you want to follow along, head on over to dailydoots.com, designed and produced by our very own Hani Abu. So we're going to just jump right in. My wife is sick, so we're going to be making this a pretty quick show, but we got to go over the list here first. We're going to start with our top 10 of this week. Hani Abu holding on at 92 at the number 10 slot. Ethical Trade at 101. Ethical Trade crossed over this week across the 100 the century mark, so congrats to them. Set one less at 103. Crypto Currency at 105. 696 underscore ETH at 109. Harag at 122. Tricky Troll at 127. Logri the Bard at 152. Benito 2030 at 153. And Super Fizz at the top of the leaderboard at 218. Upcoming guests, November 22nd, we got Nico from Lotto PGF. And we've got on December 6th, Mac from Kiwi News. And somebody else that just made this list that I haven't had a chance to put on yet is a friend of mine named Megan Nab. She runs Franklin Payroll. She's been in the crypto space for a long time. Business leader out there doing payroll stuff. They can handle both payments in crypto and US dollars or whatever currency for your employees. So she's got a really cool thing. That's Franklin Payroll. That'll be December 13th. You can check us out on Libsyn and pods.media, as well as, of course, we got our YouTube channel and Spotify. If you're watching my secondary window on Discord, make sure to mute that window to avoid any echoes that you may be having. All right, so our morning roundup for this week, day trader by H chimes in Ethereum. Frank the Tank at 29.18. Somebody else can count the beans for me, but I believe that's like almost a $500 price rise in under 2 or 3 days. Amazing. $10.9 at 0.038 on the ratio. Love to get that number up. And Ridge Runners chimes in. The ticker is ETH. Our weekly haiku, courtesy of JS Tiers, popularizers, eigenlayer advisors, turn to despisers. Ooh, salty. I like it. JS Tiers, how does he do it? How do you do it? And Clam Chota says, ETH, take my energy. It's Chota time. Our ship post of the week, because we always like to save the best for first. This one comes to us by way of 15K is FUD. 15K is FUD is a Deuter number 42. The French philosopher Albert Camus says there's a juxtaposition between the fundamental human need to attribute meaning to life and the disinterested, meaningless universe in response. He called this the absurd. I didn't truly grasp what he meant until I became an ETH investor. The fundamental need to attribute reason and rationality to the disinterested, irrational market. Camus compared this to the myth of Sisyphus, who was condemned to roll a boulder uphill every day, only for it to roll back just before it reaches the top. ETH in 2024 is Sisyphus. There are a few ways people deal with the absurd. The first one is to commit market suicide, for example, the liquidation of all holdings, also known as capitulation. A second way is to appropriate our own meaning unto the market. You will hear stuff like supply shock incoming and 4-year cycle is playing out, or alt season is coming. Camus calls this philosophical suicide. The investor, by clasping to hope, still bears a faith commitment which is akin to religion. Camus rejects both of these strategies and instead poses that one should strive to recognize the absurdity of the market and its irrationality. This acknowledgement is painful but critical. Instead of succumbing to despair or seeking comfort in religious or philosophical abstractions, Camus advocates for revolt. This doesn't mean rejecting the market, but rather resisting the desire to resolve its inherent contradictions. Recognizing the absurd for what it is brings freedom. In the end, we must imagine ETH happy. Well, that's a pretty good, that's a high quality shit post, honestly. I like that. Maybe the joke's on me and then that philosopher doesn't really actually exist. So great job, user 15K is FUD for our shit post of the week. Moving on down the list, 696 ETH introduces us to another EV Maverick. This EV Maverick is Yield Daddy, aka EVM 833. So what do you go by and what's your EV Maverick's number? It says, hi, 696. Within the online crypto sphere I go around is Yield Daddy. The name really started off as sort of a meme in 2022 when the brother and I started aping in a lot of random projects with, of course, random accounts, fighting the Ethereum FUD on Twitter with that name was also pretty hilarious to me. So funny enough, that is one of the biggest reasons I stuck with that account long term. I'm rocking EVM number 833. And there's a picture right there. Ooh, it's a, what do they call that? A shadow or a dark? I can't remember the trait. When did you get into crypto? Well, that would have been around the end of 2016, already 7 years ago. This time flies. So one day I read some random article about Kim.com. Oh my gosh. It stated he was building a project with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I thought, what? That still exists? Why would that controversial billionaire do something like that? And from that moment, down the rabbit hole called Bitcoin, I went. Believe it or not, I actually came into crypto for the tech and have not bought anything until only a couple of months later, early in 2017. How did you make your way into the EV Mavericks? Well, he responds, after reading up on Bitcoin, I, of course, stumbled upon all these other cryptos that were popping up everywhere during the ICO craze in 2017. Ethereum, the air quotes, smart contract platform. As a tech geek, I was very intrigued with the platform, which enabled it all. So I deepened myself again in everything I could get my hands on. Reddit with ETH Trader and later on Ethfinance was one of the best resources I found that I could daily hit the latest of what was going on in Ethereum. As more of a lurker myself, I was initially sad that I would miss out on the EVM drop. However, with some luck, I got my EVM with the raffle. I would have bought an EVM no matter what. 696 asks, happy to hear that you landed your EVM through the raffle. How has your stay been so far? Any favorite memories? Yield Daddy responds, our Discord is awesome, and sometimes it's even hard to keep up. However, not directly something that stands out. It is just the best place I use to hang out during the bear market, so looking forward to when the bull really hits. I did enjoy the most moments around the EI Pandas merge, Sprotos, and the current vibes with the meme coin mania. 696 asks, earlier you said you came into crypto for the tech. What crypto developments excite you nowadays? And how do you spend your time in crypto? ZK Tech really piques my interest mainly because it's hard to fully grasp its potential. And that challenge is what excites me most, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. I am also fascinated by topics like the based rollups and pre-confirmations in the Ethereum ecosystem. Lately, I have been just following what thought leaders in the space are tweeting and blogging on while experimenting with some D-apps and occasionally playing the meme coin dartboard. 696 asks, any D-apps that have piqued your interest in particular, and how has the meme coin casino been treating you? Recently, I've taken an interest in EFP and Infinex as well. EFP in particular seems like it has the potential to evolve into something much bigger down the road, which is exciting. The meme coin casino, it's been a ride for sure. Some wins, some losses, naturally, but thankfully, a few of those wins managed to turn a small bag into a decent multiplier. Let's hope those little now worth nothing, air quote, moon bags also get alive again during the full-out bull market. 696, let's switch gears for a bit. How do you usually spend time outside of crypto? What are your hobbies? Yield Daddy responds, outside of the crypto, apart from the casual travels, I've been getting back into a passion that is filming. It started with just picking up the camera a few weeks back, but it's quickly brought back that excitement I used to feel capturing the world in my own way. It gives me an excuse as well to zone out of the normal daily busy life. 696, any alpha or advice that you can give us? It can be anything. Yield Daddy, do not overthink it. In case 2025 is bullish, a 4-year cycle, take profits when you feel euphoric. Lastly, is there anything else you want to share with us, Yield Daddy? The stage is yours. Yield Daddy says, crypto lets us become sovereign individuals in the digital age. On board and teach others whenever you can. We are winning. So great interview, 696. Those are always kind of fun to watch and learn about other EV Mavericks in our Discord and beyond. Epic Trader draws parallels to DeFi summer. Epic Trader is a duder number 5. You guys remember like 5 years ago, just around COVID, where the price was in the slumps, but DeFi applications were growing like crazy. And soon after it all exploded, I feel like we're in the same stage right now. Just this time, it's L2 numbers and activity that's taking off, and we're standing in front of the next big explosion. Very well said. User Physilix. I'm going to say it. Physilix covers a change in eigenlayer advisorships. Physilix is a duder number 17. Both Justin Drake and Dankrad Feist are dropping their eigenlayer association. Whoa. Then they got both tweets right here. Good, but late, in my opinion. It has certainly tarnished their reputation a bit for me. Ooh, spicy. I like it. Oh, boy, here we go. Austin ST checks in from a DevCon adjacent event in Thailand. Austin ST is a duder number 65. Okay. Edge City, Lana, week 1. I checked into Edge City, Lana in Chiang Mai last Sunday. So somehow it's been nearly a whole week already. Time flies. I thought this would be a good opportunity to provide an update given that there's a very clear dividing line in my schedule. I had lots of flexibility to do various Edge City things this last week, but next week will be much more structured and technical. So it's a good time to summarize the experience so far. A whopper of a post today. We'll see how much of this I read. First, the broad strokes. As I mentioned before, Edge City is a pop-up village, a descendant of sorts from Zuzulu, where a bunch of people have come to live and work in a small neighborhood in Chiang Mai for up to a month. The central themes, as listed on their website, are human organization, AI, real-world crypto, health and longevity, and hard tech. It's easy to paint it over with broad strokes to say, quote, it's kind of an Ethereum adjacent tech and culture stuff, unquote. But I've been quite impressed with the extent to which it is really interdisciplinary. Probably half of the people I've met have their focus outside of blockchain, Web3. Often they're exploring if we could provide tools to help with their own endeavors. And it's really cool to have gathered all these different people in one place, meeting new people and hearing the breadth of their backgrounds has been one of my favorite parts of my time here. I've also seen a number of familiar faces, some from here as well. Hello, and expect more to make it for the last week before DevCon. Cursive put together NFC wristbands for everyone to make it easy to share contact info, build a connection graph, and use ZK proofs to find common interests and discussion topics without just revealing each person's whole list to each other. Radical Exchange has a local currency, Edges, intended to be used to pay for personal services or perishable goods, specifically within Edge City. These get a little use. And then Telegram, the Thai bot, and good old-fashioned What Do You Do still remain the ultimate coordination tools. He's got a heading here about programming. There are only a few events that are truly Edge City first party official: daily communal breakfasts and lunches, big Sunday dinners, weekly project demo days, and a few others. Each week there are a number of major featured events and a few central multi-day tracks, organized somewhat independently but with a degree of Edge City sponsorship and promotion. I'm going to skip a paragraph and I'm going to go down to my experience. Austin ST continues. I started off with what I thought was a pretty balanced schedule. I'd eat breakfast at the hotel, do a bit of yoga or something, spend an hour or two in the co-working space, then attend talks and workshops most of the rest of the day with a communal lunch break at some point. Maybe a cold plunge and sauna in the late afternoon, followed by a dinner and a quiet evening back at the hotel. There is a whole world of more lively evening events, raves in the woods, that I tend to skip. It's not really my thing. And if you know Austin, that's totally on brand, because this first part, when he eats like a breakfast, I guarantee you it's like super nutritionally balanced, and he probably goes and runs like 10 miles. He's an animal. Amazing guy. He said he caught a minor cold that kind of messed with his morning routine for a few days. Okay, so that goes on. I'm going to go to the conclusion here. It's probably fair to ask if Edge City is worth the costs. Long, expensive plane flights, paying for lodging here, and the ticket itself is 0.45 ETH for 2 weeks in exchange for a hard-to-value social setting. You can get work done, but to what extent are all the events and people running around useful versus being a distraction from actual productive work? Does it sometimes feel like at conferences there's a lot of air quote, oh, we should collaborate on something, end quote, with an implied quote, when we're done here and get back to the real world, which often doesn't happen. I'm gonna interject here with an editorial. I got a dude's business card at ETH Denver that I thought sure like there would be some follow-up, but it never happened. And I'd reached out a couple of times, but it just kind of got busy for him. But anyway, I'll go on. But the right serendipitous connection in the right place at the right time could be super valuable too. Yes, I agree. And the massive breadth of people here makes it feel ripe for finding new insights. I don't have a good answer at this point. Goes on from there. As usual, let's see. These events are going to require more of a time commitment. He's talking about some of the other side events. I will have less freedom to do miscellaneous Edge City things. Hopefully, this will be a good chance to really sit down and do something collaborative and impactful. And hopefully, I can still get exposure to the broader Edge City topics at shared meals and a handful of evening events. As usual, I would be happy to explain more about certain points here. There's a lot going on and a lot of ways to think about it. Austin ST for the win. Dude is a legend at summarizing all of the developer conferences that are out there. Always enjoy your writing, sir, and have fun over there at DEF CON. Something that struck me, and feel free to unmute on Discord if you want to chime in on this, but something that I remember, like, back in the rock band days, we would always play to the crowd. Didn't matter if there was one person or 100 people. You never know. You may connect with one person. And that happened to us one time. And I guess Austin's point here about there's 100 different things going on. I'm not sure how much it's worth it if it's a whole lot of empty promises. But you know what? Every now and then things come together in a very meaningful way. I don't know the history of how Austin ST and his partner for Astus Relay started, but I have to believe it was probably at some kind of a meetup or an event. I do know that some other people adjacent to the Rocket Pool community met And, you just never know. You can meet 1,000 people, but it really only takes one. And that seems to happen quite a bit at these conferences. So really good write up there, Austin. I think he said it 2 weeks for 0.45 ETH. That seems, the price went up, obviously. It's more expensive now than maybe when he bought it. But it seems worth it being exposed to all that day in and day out. All right, user Dr. ETH. User Dr. ETH starts a discussion about everyone's wow moments with Ethereum. Dr. ETH is a duder number 35. Okay, I want to kickstart a fun discussion. So far, ever since you started playing around with blockchain in general, what are the top 3 things you have done that when you did them, you thought, wow, that was cool, finance related or not? I'll start. Number 1, first swapping and pooling assets on Uniswap. Yeah, well said. Number 2, first ever taking an Aave loan to buy a gift card with the loan assets. And number 3, using ENS names to designate where I want to be paid and vice versa, while buying and selling assets to and from other users in a trust-based way, based on reviews of them posted by other users on a community-maintained Telegram channel. I want to open up this thread because I'm curious what some of these replies are going to look like. Pooled together was this is Richard Sagan III. Pooled together was a moment for me. Synthetic's original vision of making sense for the stock market was big for me. Uniswap for sure. Aave taking a maker loan, registering ENS names. Auspicious Ether. Says decentralized trading, receiving POAPs. There we go. Attending. Let's see, cashing in substantial airdrops. ENS goes on. That was a Turbojet Mega Christ. ENS was my gateway. I even showed it to some friends by demonstrating how you can sign it. Closest analogy they'd understand without any big tech company owning your whole life. They did not get it at all. Lifelong Hodl says, bought ETH, hold ETH. The game with the huge jackpot where you could buy time, and if you were the last one, when the timer went to 0, you won the jackpot. If anybody knows what that game was, go ahead and pop it in the chat, either on the YouTubes or in Discord. I'm trying to remember what that one was. It was like a time-based thing. Bob Rossi, OG, responds, too lazy to list out stuff, but in general, anytime. I've taken on educational writing, community advocacy projects, and the governance projects I've taken on in it. Specifically, I have found it really cool how you can be a relative nobody and still get relatively easy access to prominent devs and community members or make impacts on how stuff is done. That is a great answer. Communist Mini Pesto. What is this username? Duder number 4 says, using an Alchemix loan to buy a home and repaying it to free my ETH during the bear market. Wow. Liquidity pools on Uniswap have given over 100% annual returns for my situation, given me significant financial freedoms, and finally being able to send, move, and manage money at any time of the day with 15 seconds confirmations at max is liberating and empowering. Professor Strangelove writes, Duder number 7, writing my own mini pool software for Ethereum, or mining pool software for Ethereum, managing to get into the BAT ICO as one of like 250 people or something, and then working on Limit Ranger. User better lucky than good, Duder number 7, says minting an NFT for the first time. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Oh boy, Harog has a library of replies here. It's pretty lengthy. So anyway, we got a lot of interaction on this. I'm going to throw an upvote on everybody that gave a reply on that. Yeah, don't forget to upvote your friends up and down the board. Voting is really nice feedback for people, and it's also a great way to bookmark your eyes when you return to the daily. It's a little life hack that I've done before to keep track of where I'm at in the daily. Okay, user Vandelay 101 has a take on the current state of Web3 gaming. Vandelay 101 has a Duder number 9 score. Okay, Web3 gaming was one sector I was looking forward to having a breakout year. It still may, but now I'm thinking it will be over a longer time horizon. It just seems like the space is maturing at a snail's pace. Seeing a AAA studio, even if it's Ubisoft, oh, how the mighty have fallen, launch their first NFT game and receive so much backlash is not all that surprising. But what stands out to me is that Web3 gaming is still being wholesale branded and reported on as NFT games. That phrase just carries a bad connotation to me, as it implies that players are already somehow burdened with collectibles and or have to spend currency on in-game marketplace assets in order to remain competitive. Perhaps the space deserves the unflattering branding, at least for now. Game developers get greedy, and as their first foray into on-chain gaming, adopt a pay-to-play or pay-to-win model.
Well, it's just like on the BT thing.
Matt, you're hot micing. Matt, my boy.
Says,
my boy, Matt, you're hot micing, my friend. And let's see. I don't want to server me. Let's go. Okay, I got him. He's got important things going on over there. Over time, though, the creativity will shine through. We'll begin to see developers adopt models tailored specifically to Web3 gaming platforms that empower the player without creating the unnecessary friction that the old guard has made all too commonplace. Right now, it seems like we're only in the early discovery phase of this space's potential. The big-name game developers have only dipped their toes into Web3 gaming thus far, dedicating only a small fraction of the resources as they would to a traditional AAA title launch. But they don't want to be caught with their pants down. However, in case Web3 becomes the future of gaming, so they throw a few bucks at an NFT game concept, build a few relations here and there with companies that can onboard them, and call it a day. My hope is that game developers are able to navigate past NFTs serving as the focal point in the majority of Web3 game designs and get to a point where they're exploring fresh concepts while keeping the player's best interests at heart, such as fun and immersion. I'm starting to believe the first hit to really take the Web3 gaming sector by storm will come from a smaller indie developer who adopts a model that is unique in how it leverages the advantage of being built on a borderless, trustless, decentralized network. Admittedly, I haven't done much research on this topic, just throwing out some loose observations and ramblings. And that is User Van Delay 101. That's a very quality reflection there, sir, or ma'am, or they, or whatever. Flappy Bird comes to mind. Just imagine a simple, easy to get into game, blockchain based, that you're playing it and it's like it's almost like a casual game, but it's just everything settles on chain, but nobody really knows. They don't think about it that way, right? So I don't know if anybody else felt the same way that I did, but like this election cycle with this election cycle with Polymarket. There's so many normies that I talked to that were like, yeah, Polymarket's got this, whatever election, here's the odds of so-and-so winning. It's like, they didn't even have a clue that was like a Polygon thing, right? And I just didn't even like bring it up, right? What's the point? You know what? People were using it. I don't know if they were making bets, but it was in the news. Also, thank you Inside the Simulation for helping out. And then if you DM Matt, we can get him unmuted up in case he wants to chime in. No hard feelings, my friend. CryptoWow Currency, moving on. CryptoWow Currency checks in on Solana and user Grow the Pie provides some important context. So CryptoWow Currency is up on the top 10 list, I believe. Grow the Pie is a relative newcomer and an awesome project. They are already a Deuter 7. CryptoWow Currency is a Deuter 105. CryptoWow Currency, as always, I apologize for Solana posting. Don't ever apologize, especially on such an anxious day for many. But I think this must have been like, anyway. But I think responses to this might help me better understand ETH. If we look at the DeFi Llama fees, Solana has surpassed Ethereum in 24-hour fee revenue. Let's open that up. Check it out. Okay. Revenue, holders, market cap, fees, 7-day, 20-day, Let's just do the 7-day. Tether, Circle, Ethereum, Jito, Radium. I don't know what Radium. Okay, there we go. Jito, Radium, and Solana are down there. But apparently there was a 24-hour revenue. Let me sort by this. Tether, Ethereum, Circle, Kyber Swap, Solana, 1.8. Okay. Maybe it's okay, Matt. We still love you, my friend. Maybe somebody else can read that better than I can. Yes, I believe this doesn't include L2 revenue, but L2 revenue. Oh, okay. Mainnet, layer 1. But L2 revenue translates only indirectly to L1 revenue anyways. And yes, I'm aware that it's only been for a couple of days. Ethereum is still looking much stronger on the monthly, yearly. If we take a SOL staking yield of 6% from stakingrewards.com and an inflation rate of 4.9% from SolanaCompass.com, that means SOL staking has a real yield of 1.1%. No idea if these sources are accurate, but they seem reasonable enough. I am aware that this ignores the upcoming token unlocks for VC dumping, but while the dumping could affect price, I don't believe it should affect real yield, which could be accessed then after dumping. Here's my questions. Crypto Currency asks, is this data accurate? Number 2, is it possible that Solana could pass up ETH in a monthly fee revenue than fee revenue in general? Number 3, can any old schmo forever access this risk-free yield just by staking like on Ethereum, or are there some special Solana strings attached? Ding, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner. Aside from the usual disadvantages of the Solana chain itself. Number 4, does this fee revenue comparison matter at all? What should I make of it? I feel like the most important property that ETH has over other tokens is a real staking yield. ETH's credible neutrality is up there too. Grow the Pie respawns on Reddit. I can only speak on Ethereum data, and it looks to be correct. I would add the following context. Using a 7-day rolling average, Ethereum revenue is around 3.29 million, yesterday's rolling average. If we were to also include layer 2s, this would be 3.57 million. Ethereum has proved it can remain secure and keep demand with lower issuance subsidy. This shouldn't be taken for granted on other chains. The blob market is very new and is only just starting to generate revenue, and this will change over time. Point number 2, Grow the Pie continues. Anything is possible. Solana is subsidized. Okay, anything is possible. Solana is subsidizing fees with higher issuance in an attempt to gain more revenue, whilst also having different security assumptions on decentralization. Ethereum blobs have really taken the wind out of those sails by allowing L2s to compete and beat them on transaction costs. Ethereum has sacrificed revenue in the short term as we enter the growth stage for L2s. This will enable them to grow faster without having to dramatically increase issuance. This is a long-term play. I think with Solana, they use distributed proof of stake. So you're delegating rather than self-staking. And to be a delegate, you have to be a super expensive hardware and bandwidth. You have to have that. So different risk profile, but yes, anyone can get access to the yield. Don't I know how much I'm not sure how this is written. I don't know how much the yield the delegate keeps. And last, I think it does matter, but it's far from the only thing that matters. ETH being used as a unit of account on all these L2s, and many of them charge their users in ETH, all play into ETH's use and value, not financial advice. But really it is. Okay, I added that last part. No, they said not financial advice. Good stuff. Excellent. Okay, Crypto Currency. Let's see. Harog. Here we go. Freaking legend. Harog is like per capita one of the fastest rising stars on the Deuter chart. Deuter 122. Harog mentions neither mind. just announced that they will launch a based rollup called Surge. It is built on the Tycho stack. It will be stage 2 at launch, uses ETH as token, and they plan to have a gigagas throughput. This is about 700 times more throughput than mainnet. They will not be able to achieve that with the current number of blobs, but I guess that's our goal in the future. More info at surge.wtf, mate. Let's open that up. Why not? Surge.wtf. There we go. Supercharging Ethereum. Roll-up roadmap. As Ethereum scales, we remain committed to its decentralization, stability, and security, driven by a deep-rooted desire to explore and innovate as we push the boundaries. Each solution in the roll-up roadmap embodies our vision for a sustainable Ethereum ecosystem, guided by core principles and a commitment to openly sharing with the community. There's the Surge. Yay. All right, moving on down the list. Tricky Troll thinks that inflation is coming regardless of politics. God, I'm so glad the election's over. That was hellish. The year is 2030X. After failing to manage the deficit, the U.S. government has defaulted on its debts by printing it away. Inflation is unsurprisingly out of control. Person number 1, I really wish the government managed the deficit better. This inflation is insane. Person number 2, don't blame me. I voted for Kodos. Kodos's policies would have also led to inflation. The U.S. government has already passed the point of no return because any politician voted in who is willing to implement the austerity required to get the budget back on track would be swiftly voted out. The game theory says it is no longer possible. Don't get left holding the fiat bag. Let me open up this Kodos link. Oh, it's a Simpsons. It's a Simpsons meme.
My fellow Americans.
I don't know. Can you guys hear that in the chat, by the way?
A young boy, I dreamed of being a baseball. But tonight I say we must move forward, not backward, upward, not forward, and always twirling, twirling, twirling towards freedom.
Okay. All right, so chat can't hear this. All right. Anyway, so it's a Simpsons meme there. So good one, Tricky. Nice work. Benito 2030. Benito 2030 also crushing it on the list. Duder number 75. So yesterday, it says, Benito 2030 provides us with a ZK Sync delegate update. So yesterday, Fimar Hal tagged me to show support for TPP1, which is the first proposal in the ZK Sync ecosystem. Voting opened yesterday. I indeed will be voting for, but this is not the reason for this post. I want to share my experience and thoughts being a first-time delegate. The TPP is called ZK Sync Ignite Program. Their one-sentence summary is, allocate 325 million ZK tokens over 9 months to deploy a program designed to establish a DeFi liquidity hub on ZK Sync Era, aimed at increasing DeFi TVL and improving liquidity across all interoperable ZK chains. So it's about mining, attracting liquidity by handing out ZK incentives in various DeFi protocols. The proposal is not reinventing the wheel here. It's similar to STIP and LTIP, you might know, from Arbitrum. At the same time, TPPs are supposed to be different. ZK Sync, not the delegates, presented TPPs in a way where things are supposed to be as automatic and on-chain as possible. Instead of giving out grants, incentives to protocols, TPPs are supposed to be autonomous token allocation processes. If you are really interested in this, please see these two threads in the forum, the TPP FAQ and a presentation, and those links are available at dailydoots.com. He goes on, I think the idea is beautiful, even if I still have issues to really understand how this is supposed to work on chain. Here comes the twist. TPP1 is not even remotely close to being automatic. The whole program is a lot of manual work, and as we later found out, was and is a project the ZK Sync team supports. I guess it was designed with them, and there's a lot of support for it, despite being the opposite of what they told us the TPPs are supposed to be. I found the proposal because I follow ZK Nation and ZK Sync on Twitter. This is the tweet, and I'll open that up. As you can see, ZK Sync Ignite had a Twitter account created before the proposal was even published. The ZK Sync Twitter account even states the following. Okay, here's the tweet. ZK Sync's very first token program has been proposed, aims to make ZK Sync Era the liquidity hub. It goes on from there. All right, good. Okay, I found the proposal. Let me get back to it. The ZK Sync Twitter account even states the following. ZK Sync Ignite will turn ZK Sync Era into a liquidity hub for the Elastic chain by streaming 300 million ZK tokens over 9 months to DeFi users. So it will or could. Also, the first comment in the TPP thread in the forum was created minutes after publishing it. The account posting it was created the same day. Until today, it has been in the forum 2 days, less than 1 minute of total reading time. But it was super supportive. If you're still with me, I apologize because I'm just starting and know this is already a wall of text. Thanks for your patience and still reading. And finally for this week, user Next Level Fantasy shares the stats from the most recent Gitcoin grants. Okay, I'm trolling. Gitcoin grants, right? Let's see. Next Level Fantasy is a duder number 4. All right. GG22 stats, end of round. Matching pool got 1.5 million. The total donated $276,000. That's great. Total donations, 131,983. Unique donors, 27,315 unique donors. A total of 12 rounds and a total of 496 projects. That is mind-blowing. And you can look at all that at gitcoin.co/grants data. Look at that chart. This is so cool, man. Just the number of individual accounts of people getting out there, which general reminder, keep up to date on the Octant stuff. If you've got some GLM staked or whatever, and you want to help out some teams, go to the Octant.app. They're not a sponsor, but we were able to get funding through Octant. And I think, Gitcoin and all of that is it's all super aligned. Also, start getting your tickets together for ETH Denver. If you're a plebe like me and can't make it to DevCon, get your ETH Denver tickets together. Hope to see you there. It's always a good time. And I think that's about it. We have a free mint. I'll get this up on pods.media. It's a free mint. You just pay a little bit of gas on Optimism or Base. We're going to be on Base. I've been trying to get it over on Base because pods.media wants everybody over on Base, but they're looking into it as to why it hasn't worked out. Maybe it's because we were one of the first people in there, and maybe our smart contract's different. I don't know. Whatever. What else is there? Yeah, so we got all the guests coming up. I might as well go over that just one more time. Nico from Lotto PGF on November 22nd. December 6th, Matt from Kiwi News, as well as Megan Nab from Franklin Payroll on December 13th. I'll be sure to get that date up there for everybody. Thanks for hanging out on Discord today. If you want to stick around after the live stream, that's fine with me. I'll get some editing done, and that's where we continue the party in the hotel lobby on Discord for a bonus hour of popcorn. It's a fun place to let loose when the parents aren't watching on YouTube. Hi, Mom. On behalf of Ethfinance and the EV Maverick style, my name is JT. Cheers and big hugs from Kansas City.